Trooper John O'Neill came into Tampa with the Rough Riders and went to Cuba with Roosevelt. He got sick over there, and they sent him to Egmont Key along with about 150 or 60 others to be quarantined because they didn't know if they had yellow fever or whatever they had. So we found out that he died there July 3rd or July 5th of 1898, and they buried him on the island. In 1909, they moved all the burials from Egmont Key that they could find. They moved them to St. Augustine or various military graveyards. I found out from reading the old books that we had a Rough Rider die on the island, John O'Neill. So I checked over there, had a lady over there that was doing a lot of work. I got on her, I said, find out if this guy's still out there. And she said, no, they had transferred him to St. Augustine. So I had somebody I knew in St. Augustine go find out if John O'Neill was buried in the graveyard. It's not a very big one. So he was there, but they did not have his marker correctly. They had him, John O'Neill, Spanish-American War, whatever the date of his death. Didn't have he was a Rough Rider, or he was even First Cavalry. So I jumped on the Graves Association, used Bill Aracus, the congressman, and all that. And about the same time, Jeff Patterson walked in my office, and I showed him a letter I'd written to Jeff Patterson about O'Neill. And he said, yeah, he didn't think much of it. But I gave him a copy of it. So about 4 days later, he come running in my office. I got to do a story on the Spanish American, on the Veterans War, whatever. What were you telling me about this guy? So I tell him, and I told him who's in charge of the graves for Florida now over in Bushnell. He went over there with a cameraman. And he walked in the headquarters of the National Graves Administration in Bushnell. And the guy, what do you mean? We didn't exist in 1909. But he jumped on and he showed him my letter, and they called me up and they said, well, tell us what we can do. I said, well, give him the right headstone. The headstone is incorrect. You got to put this on it, this, that, and the other. I dictated it. Sure enough, about 2 months later, he had a new headstone over there. And so we went over there in a big party, shot rifles and speeches, did the whole thing. And a strange thing happened while we were there. And there's a picture of her somewhere around here. A lady showed up and was hugging this guy's headstone, dressed like she came out of 1898. The picture's probably in that stack. And she was there for a little while, and she was gone. And the photographer from this military newspaper from St. Augustine said, where's this lady? I want to interview her. We don't know who she was. I knew who she was, but we don't know who she was. She's gone. She disappeared. Here it is here. There she is. But he never found her, so in St. Augustine, and according to that reporter, it's a mystery. The woman showed up, hugged the headstone, and disappeared.